Will Arc Raiders have wipes? Let's find out. Just in case you live under a rock and don't know what Arc Raiders is yet, I have a video talking about that. I'll link to it so you don't have to waste your time if you're already in the know. Usually games in this genre have wipes. That means that every once in a while your progress is reset so you can play again from a fresh start. Some gamers don't like that, but it's not all bad. In my opinion, in most extraction shooters so far, early wipe PvP is the most fun. But nobody knows whether Arc Raiders is going to wipe or what Embark's plan is to keep things fresh. Maybe it's Mentos, who knows? But then they dropped a nugget for us. Hello Raiders, progression wipes are a big part of extraction shooters, so how will Arc Raiders handle them? Today we have a special message for you from Arc Raiders design director Virgil, going over account progression wipes, expeditions, and raider projects. Read the blog entry here. Okay, so they're addressing the wipe issue. Let's see what they have to say. Hello all, I am Virgil, the design director of Arc Raiders. I'd like to spend a bit of time talking about a topic that is important to many players familiar with games like Arc. This being the subject of progression wipes, or as we refer to it, the expedition project. Previously, the question of how we will handle resets or wipes has come up. Until now, the answer has been that currently we do not intend to do mandatory wipes. These words were chosen carefully as we don't intend to do mandatory wipes. However, as some have guessed, we do have a voluntary reset mechanic. Just to make it clear, we absolutely see the benefits a global wipe provides. Veteran players can experience the game fresh, the economy is reset to the baseline, and all players have about the same level of capabilities, at least for a little while. However, one thing that a mandatory wipe does not do is respect the investment of those players who do not have as much time to play overall. So, as we have done with several other mechanics before mimicking other established mechanics, we'd like to try our own method, ideally to the end that best suits Arc Raiders and a larger majority of its players. This is kind of a double-edged sword, I think. Doesn't respect the investment of those players who do not have as much time to play. The thing is, as a wipe progresses in Escape from Tarkov, that's the big comparison. That's a mil-sim game, so it's a different, but it's the granddaddy extraction looter shooter. So the first 2 or 3 weeks of a wipe, you're on even footing. The casual who only has 2 or 3 weeks to play is on even footing with the no-life basement dweller that doesn't do anything else. So, but that wears off really quickly. And then it's Timmy versus Chad, and that's not usually a good time. Let's see how Embark plans to handle that. The Expedition Project. Which brings us to the Expedition Project. The tunnel networks connected to Speranza are vast but largely unexplored or inaccessible. Most survivors stay within their settlements, but like the raiders who dare venture topside, there are those who dare venture even further. Once the Rust Belt has given all it can offer, some raiders choose to set out beyond the borders of what they know. As of now, this has always been a one-way trip. Okay, so it's a prestige system that's voluntary, and you can venture out farther beyond the Rust Belt, and that'll reset you. I like that they've built it into the lore. That's nice. In the full game, players will have access to a feature called Projects. At level 20, the first major project players will have access to is the Expedition Project. Upon completion, this project makes a character reset available. If a player completes a reset, they will be able to do so again so long as they complete another of these projects. So at level 20, you get access to an Expedition Project. I wonder what other kinds of projects we're gonna see. Okay, timeline. Reach level 20 to unlock the Expedition Project. There's a October 30th to December 14th. December 15th through 20th looks like it's red, maybe blocked out. December 20th is green, so maybe accessible. Caravan construction and supply phases available. Finalization phase opens. Completed caravans depart. Okay, so I don't know what that means. The Expedition Project will operate on a receding cycle of roughly 8 weeks. During the course of these 8 weeks, players can contribute toward and make progress on their Expedition Project, which will overall be somewhat large time investment. That's this first section. The time investment. At the start of the 8th week, the ability to finalize the project will become available and will remain available for that entire week. If a player has fulfilled all of the necessary stages of the project, they will be able to commit to completing the expedition during this period. So this phase, like a week, it seems it's red, so it seems like it'd be locked in that section of time. But that's when it's you lock in. It's final decision, no going back. That's why it's red. Okay. Should a player's project not be ready during the window to complete the expedition project, their progress will be kept, allowing them to continue working on the project until the next finalization window. Right, okay, so if you don't have enough time to complete this during one expedition window, 8 weeks, or project, then you can carry over progress, and maybe you can do like every other one or every third one if you don't have that much time to play. That's kind of neat. Other projects may be added over time as part of updates, holidays, and other events. These will range in scale and reward structure. Okay, let's see what this is about. There's no audio. Expedition. Embark on a dangerous expedition beyond the Rust Belt. Expeditions are perilous. Your raider will carry all their possessions into the unknown beyond the Rust Belt. In return, your next raider gains a unique edge that lasts until the next expedition departs. A unique edge. Hopefully that's not like too strong. I wonder what that will mean. Like bigger safe pockets or something like that. Because that's kind of that's an advantage. That's a combat advantage because it's an economy advantage. If you can safely extract with more stuff, then over the course of the wipe, you'll have more money, so you'll be able to buy better kits than the other pores. Okay, let's see. Oh, go to project. There's no audio. There's nothing I can do about that. It looks like a lot of parts. Building the base structure and frame of the caravan. Okay, so we're putting the caravan together, and there's a timer. We need a lot of parts. I don't know if that's a lot, I guess. I'm assuming that's a lot. Wait. It says metal parts times 250 out of 50. Times 200? So is that like, what? What's 50 times 200? Is that like 10,000? 10,000 metal parts or something like that? Is that what that means? Okay, and you have to commit them. Do you see that? Where'd that? I can't back up. Okay. There's multiple stages. Okay, we went to the next stage. And we have to, what? Select another material? Oh, it started over. I missed something. Okay, here. So 126. Oh, no, I see. This is how many he has. This is how many the player has in their inventory. We only need to commit 26. 126 in your stash. That's how many you have. Ah, okay. But once you commit those, they're gone. So you have to take a little bit of care, especially if these are rarer resources. Like this steel spring is green, so I don't know if that's rarer, hard to find perhaps. What is kept and what is lost? So, what do you keep through an expedition versus what is lost? Players will lose anything inherent to their character's progress, levels, skills, items in inventory, workshop, crafting capabilities, etc. Players will keep cosmetics earned or purchased, awards, achievements, ranking, etc. Essentially anything rooted solely in the metagame or involving real-world money will be preserved. So the rankings, that's what those trials, again, that we talked about in the last video. I don't know what this is. I would like more information about this. I'm not a super competitive player. I want to know how like important this is going to be to the actual gameplay. Hopefully it's just like an extra thing, not something you necessarily have to worry about. For convenience, after completing an expedition, players will be able to skip the majority of the onboarding and tutorial steps they went through as a new player. This being things like unlocking certain features, maps, etc. as they play through the early game. These will just be available from the start of a fresh reset. So, does this mean your first time through you have to unlock the new maps and stuff like that? There's like it's progression based, so you have like maybe a beginning entry level map, and then they go up to higher tiers of maps perhaps, and with a reset you just have access to all of them. I wonder if there will be progression based loot or something, or I don't know how would, like if you start a reset and you just go to the higher tier map because you know how to survive and you get just bonkers loot right off the get-go, that kind of eliminates the early wipe feel. Early wipe for me is about PvP. It's about poor fights with junk guns and equipment, and it's just usually a lot of fun. Hopefully this doesn't skip too much of the early wipe, but it seems like a nice quality of life feature if it skips like just the tedious bits. Now, aside from players who like the thrill of starting fresh, why would you willingly give up all of your hard-earned progress? Incentives, of course. Benefits and incentives. We are still finalizing the exact benefits and rewards, but they will generally follow along these lines. Permanent account unlocks for each completed expedition. Permanent account unlocks. Hopefully this is just like cosmetics. Hopefully it's nothing that gives you an edge in combat. Unique cosmetic rewards for each completed expedition. That's really cool. Hunt has a prestige system also, and you can unlock some cosmetics, but it's not every single time. For the first 11 prestiges, first 10 maybe, you can unlock a random cosmetic, but after that, it's only every 10 prestige levels. So a lot of people don't really like it. They don't really think it's worth it that much. So this is kind of nice. Unique cosmetic for each expedition. That's nice. Account buffs that are applied for the duration of the following expedition cycle, and sequential completions of the expedition project increase the magnitude of these buffs up to a limit. This is the important part for balance. What are these buffs, and do they give you an edge? Whether it's directly in combat, like movement speed or something like that, or if it's just an economy boost, like increased trader rep or money rewards or anything like that. That's also a combat advantage, even though it's just economy, because over the course of time, like I said, you have more resources available to buy better kits. So let's see. One point to drive home is that we are being very careful about the nature of these benefits. Completing a reset should never give a player a power or combat advantage over anyone who has not completed a reset. That's really good. I'm glad that they're being careful, and it's not going to give a power or combat advantage, but an economy advantage is a combat advantage. Initially, these benefits will center around cosmetics and bragging rights, like that a lot. Quality of life, good, and smoothing out some aspects of progression for those who have gone through a reset, getting rid of the tedium of the early wipes and unlock stuff. I think it's really important though for the reset system to feel like an early wipe. I like the timed nature of it, so everyone is doing it at the same time. I like that. That's a big deal. Where like a lot of progression systems or prestige systems, they just happen whenever you want. You can just prestige whenever you want. So this being timed, everyone who's going to prestige does it at the same time. That's huge. That's a big deal. That might be the difference maker that makes this system work. What comes next? While any and all of this is subject to change between now, launch, and post-launch, that is about the shape of it right now. We hope that by making the reset mechanic voluntary and properly incentivized, we can observe two results. Players who are highly engaged can experience the game fresh on a regular cadence while accruing some benefits. Players who have less time to dedicate to the game don't have their progress reset out of their control. They are always able to keep moving forward and at their own pace if they so choose. I think the important thing here too is to not necessarily have, this says you get a unique cosmetic for each completed expedition. I hope that doesn't mean that people who don't have as much time to play will never have access to those cosmetics. On the one hand, on the other, exclusive cosmetics are pretty cool if you can have them. If you have the time to dedicate to unlock them, they're pretty cool. If you don't have the time to dedicate to unlock them, then it feels like missing out. Let's see how it goes. It's not a silver bullet and won't achieve the clean break that a mandatory global reset does, but it does aim to be more equitable to all players wherever possible. We want to value your time spent in the game as much as you do. Of course, this is a complex topic, so we'll be keeping an eye on the discussion around this message and follow up as necessary. We'll almost for sure need some balancing. Usually things aren't perfect right out of the gate, so it's nice that they're already eye on the ball. Thank you for all your interest in and passion for Arc Raiders. I look forward to seeing you topside, Virgil. All right, Mr. Virgil, seems like you're doing pretty good work here. I would like I hope that it is a big enough benefit to do this that most players who have achieved the expedition goal will do it. But I also hope that it's not such a benefit that it gives you an advantage or not much of one. Because even, I'll say it again, an economy benefit is a combat benefit, especially for people who sink tons of time into a game, who know exactly how the economy works and can kind of exploit and take advantage of that knowledge to progress really quickly. But you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but the benefits, I hope the benefits are good enough that you want to, but they're not so good that you have an edge, which I don't know how you would achieve that. You have to have an edge, or it probably wouldn't be good enough for some players to do it. Let's see. We'll have to see. I'll be watching with you guys. Okay, I think that's it for this one. I'm really excited. This seems like a good system. I think they're onto something here. I think this is potentially the correct solution. What I have seen suggested and I agreed with as the right way to do it, or the best way, would be to have two different accounts basically to your account. A main account, a persistent one that always lasts forever, always exists, never resets, that you can take your time with, and a seasonal account that resets. So like two characters, maybe not two accounts, two characters. You have a seasonal character that resets, so you get the fresh early wipe on that side and the persistent progression on this one. This might be the best way to do it without having two different characters. And that will reduce the server load as well, which is probably the biggest hurdle for the two character system. It's just the requirements that the developers would have to put into it to keep it going. All right, I'll see you in the Rust Belt. Raid that like button. Subscribe if you want more Arc Raiders content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.